Welcome back to the Corporate Happiness Show. I'm Jacqueline Pirtle, and you can find me at FreakyHealer.com. This show is really about how to infuse your work life, your company with happiness, but also it rolls over into the private life. And it's a little bit a show about thinking outside the box, and tipping on subjects and topics that could help you further, that goes beyond pay, beyond health insurance, beyond everything. But it is just really inspirational wisdom that my experts bring to the table for you to create a happier workplace. So today's guest, I'm really excited because I'm always excited, but I'm super excited because she's European and I'm European too. I'm from Switzerland and she is actually in and from the Netherlands. So how did we meet? Well, we met through some sort of mastermind event originally, and then we also were together on a summit talk as well, and then we kept professionally in touch and supporting each other. And I just really, she's really dear to me because what we're wanting both and what we're trying to do is for the whole big picture of people to be more empowered and be happier and just have better life. So Aleksandra, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to be here and talking to you about the important subject, which is happiness. And I'm so glad that you're bringing this forward.
I know, right? And you're like in the evening and I'm like in lunchtime. So it's like, I'm still like full energy, and I hope you're too, even it's for the evening for you. So, let's dive right in, because what makes me so excited, besides just I like you a lot, but what you're doing and your expertise, it's all about communication. And I find that profound in happiness, be it private, be it at work, be it with your families or whatnot. So tell us a little bit about what you do with communication.
Mm-hmm. So I'm an executive communications coach and trainer, and I help people effectively communicate, mostly executives and international professionals, and as well along the way help them overcome fear of public speaking and boost their self-confidence.
I love that. I love that. What do you think? So question, what do you think communication has to do with happiness?
That's a good one. I think it has everything to do with the happiness, because happiness essentially is, well, when you look at it, it's how you connect to other people, and we're humans, and we like to, we deal with every day with people professionally, personally. Also, we like to be close to people. We want to be in trusted connections, and we want to be liked, and we want to make an impact. Again, personally and professionally, and all of that, falls into happiness, because a lot of it is really interrelations. So how do you deal with other persons, and that brings, joy every day to our life, or not, if you're not really good at it.
Absolutely. And what comes in for me here is like, okay, people want to be heard at work, right? People want to be heard, be that the working people, be that the executive level, be that the owner, people, and even private, children want to be heard. So, but people want to be heard. And to me, it brings in extremely value what you do, is because if you have a great communication style, if you learn how to communicate in a very, very pleasant, no matter the situation, professional way, and something that's uplifting and brings everyone further in life, if you can communicate in such a style, you will be heard. Because a lot of times you're not heard because A, you may be too quiet, B, you may be not aligned and standing really with what you're wanting to say. Sometimes you're even fearful, right? You don't want to lose the job or whatnot. Definitely. And then, of course, then there comes this whole thing is like, because maybe others are just louder as you, right? But that doesn't mean their wisdom is more profound. Your wisdom is uniquely designed for you. And when you align yourself and you learn with you and what you teach, how to communicate that, you will be heard. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, I think you said it very well. And there are various aspects to it because there is one thing, yes, we all want to be heard and we all actually want to be understood. So
Yes,
in
yes.
communications, especially in conflict, that's an interesting part for me when I research that is it's not that you have to win when you're in conflict with somebody. But the most important need that we would like to be met with emotional need is to the other party to understand us. And then from understanding, when you reach understanding, then from there you can lead or you can make an impact. But if there is no understanding, then there is no connection, there is no effective communication.
I
Because
like that.
definition of communication is really exchanging ideas in understandable way.
Yeah, I
So
like that. I like that you brought that up. It's you want to be heard, but you also want to be understood, because if you're heard but not understood, that's just half the process. So you want to be heard,
exactly.
you want to be understood. And then I think it also brings up too, like if you have a communication style that people understand, that people hear you and want to hear you. They actually are really wanting to hear what you have to say, and then they understand what you're saying, and you can package this into an uplifting way, because you can get your message much better across than if it's not uplifting. How do you teach people to be uplifting, even when, like we would say, I'm an energetic energetic person, an energetic nitpicker. I work with energy and with people and teach them and whatnot. So energetically speaking, there is never anything wrong. It's like that physical life level. On that level, that's really when we say, well, it's positive, it's negative, it's bad, it's good, it's angry, it's frustrated. Energetically, that does not exist. So, but let's stay in physical life, because that's what we're actually wanting to talk about for the Corporate Happiness Show. So in physical life, there's this situation that's negative, right? Or that's not very friendly, or that's just like, it's just not that humorous situation. How do you teach people to have a good communication style that's uplifting? How do you teach that to people?
Well, the first thing is always what is your intention? So what is your goal with any communication? What are you trying to achieve? Because a lot of us sometimes come up from our emotional needs or instincts. I want to say this to this person, I want to let it out, or and so on. But even like in some not let's say conflicts in situations, we don't have a goal. So what is it that we would like to achieve? What would we be a satisfactory response for us? Do we want somebody to to inform somebody? Are we looking for a solution? Are we looking for a specific reply from the other person? Are we looking for mutual cooperation? Or let's say in selling, you want the other person to take an action. So a lot of us do not think about that. And I think like in every encounter, it's important to have a goal, or what is deeper, intention, because that is, as you said, energetically, that is this thread that will lead you towards the outcome or not. And if you do not have the clear goal, then the outcome will not be clear. And
yeah, because you're running on your emotions, and when the emotions are happy, sure, run with it. But when the emotions are not so good and you're running with the emotions and you're speaking through that, that's going to be like your fuel to do the talk. It's most likely you're not, heard, and nobody wants to hear that, and you're not really understood, and it's not really getting you to what you want. However, if you say intention and what's the outcome and what do I actually want with this, right? That obviously brings you to the point. And I think when you're upset at work and you're saying, okay, I'm upset, take a deep breath in, make yourself stop, take the momentum away from being upset, because if you give it momentum with the focus on it, it's gonna get gigantic and it's hard to stop, right? So but if you just say, okay, I'm upset, I give it a minute, it's okay. And then you go into what you said. What's my intention? What's the outcome I want? What is the goal? That immediately takes you down and puts the momentum and focus on what you're actually wanting to accomplish, and it brings the emotion down, and from there you will lead a different conversation, right?
Absolutely. And the other part is that is awareness, that is emotional awareness. That's why now at the workplace and leadership, we talk about emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
And this is
absolutely.
exactly what you said. Take a moment back, be aware of your emotions. And then you're going to have different as well communication way and possibly different outcome. And what mostly people forget is that we as communicators, we do have the responsibility. And so if you want to communicate, get your message through, make an impact, you have the responsibility. And some researchers would say it's 100% responsibility on your end or my end, and then because you're the sender of the information. And then receiver is the part that it depends the other person, how they're going to understand that, how they're going to take it. But essentially, it's about you. How do you come across and what do you communicate? Because there is the funny thing is there is no such thing as bad communication, or some people say, yeah, that person, they don't know how to communicate there, or they do not communicate. Actually, we are communicating all the time, so it's impossible for us not to communicate as human beings. What happens, what makes a difference is whether you're effectively communicating or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that when you say we're always communicating, because even if you're in a room and you're really quiet, you're still communicating. You don't have to say anything, because ultimately your energy, even words are energy, even everything is energy. So if you think about the energetic value of saying like, I hate this, for instance, and then you think about the energetic value of like, I love this, it's very different. Now, energetically speaking, there is no difference, because energy is energy. It's all pure until we put something in it. But the whole world runs on, I hate this, is a really, really downward spiral, negative energetic value. And that's why it carries that value, because when we think about, I hate this, it immediately it makes that energy come up in us, because we're so programmed. Absolutely. Right? If on the energetic level, I hate this, I love this, it's the same. We make it, right? So when it's I love this, then it actually initiates in us love, feelings, and positivity, because it's programmed like that, and because we're programmed like that, to just put that out there. So I think what you're saying is so profound. You communicate even if you don't speak. That's because you have a body language. That's because your energy. That's because you're sharing and spreading yourself and who you are and who you're aligned with at all times. So you can be mad inside and not say a word. You're still communicating that anger. Absolutely. So that brings us to the other thing that you said, responsibility. Take responsibility, because if you take responsibility of always being aligned with you and managing these not so good feelings, embrace them. They're human nature. But to then say, okay, I don't feel so good. Okay, I'm going to embrace it. And immediately you're shifting that not well feeling into an aligned thing where actually it can have space, and then you're communicating that, and I really, really like that. And the third thing that I want to squeeze in there real quick is emotional intelligence. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so, so important that you learn about your emotions, that you know that there's so much wisdom in your emotions, that you can take responsibility of them and then also shift them, meaning that you're actually in charge. And I just wrote a children's book newly. I've written over 16 books, and they're all in the thing of empowerment and emotional intelligence. But this one is very specific. It's my first children's book. It's called Ella's Inner Genie, and it talks exactly about that, where Ella has this inner voice but doesn't know what it is. She calls it the inner genie, and then it kind of like it gets infiltrated into the family through a blow up. She follows the inner genie, and then she gets in trouble at home, and then they actually have a talk, and the parents say, wait a minute, I have an inner voice too. So they work with that, and they make this like actually common knowledge in the family. And I really think it's not just for the family, it's also to take that to the workplace. How do you take emotional intelligence to the workplace, to companies that want to do it but they don't know how to start it?
Well, first of all, what we said, it's important that you're aware of the emotion that you're feeling. And in corporate world, it's as well because you're dealing with a lot of people. And what you mentioned in a personal level, maybe you can have a lash out, or maybe more. In the corporate
Yeah.
world, you have to have a little bit of a
Yeah.
manageable lash out or case if sometimes it happens. But the thing is, you're making an impact to your employees and to your team, and ultimately in the corporate world, you're making an impact to a profit. And the outcomes. And if you're having, let's say, a leader or a manager or even an employee who cannot handle stress because it's a big issue, unpleasant situations, it's very hard for the companies to trust them and give them responsibilities, because yes, you make an impact on the overall company. And with the emotional intelligence, it is the essence of it. So it is you and your emotions that you need to manage, but you have to think about the impact that you're making on the other people, because they're part of the equation as well. You deal with them every day. You want to make a connection. It makes you happy and joyful, not just at the workplace, but a personal level.
I like that. I like that.
Yes.
I like that you're saying that about the impact, because I don't think we think about that, So we're angry, we're having a bad day, we're coming in and whatnot. That can be at home or at work,
Exactly.
and then we're just gonna, but then we are maybe aware already that I'm having a bad day, but what's the impact that you are having with living this bad day? Because you don't have to live it, because no day has to be bad. You can have I would say you can have a stressful split second. And then if you take responsibility and you shift it into something better, even if you're stressed when you can't go too happy, that's sometimes a big jump. But you're stressful, acknowledging, and you can shift it with a cup of tea and a couple deep breaths, and then that's already better. So just knowing that when you say, I'm having a bad day, that's on you. That's on you. And that's actually not even a real saying, because no, you're not having a bad day. You are missing out in being aware, taking responsibility, and then to focus on shifting yourself. And I think even though most people know that, a lot of people know it, I think what you just brought up about the impact, I think that's the last kick, that actually a lot of people might need to say, well, I'm going to do something about it. Because so far it was all about your day. Actually, it's not just your bad day. It's like your bad day is having an impact on everyone else out there too, and really testing their good day, and spiraling that into a bad day too, if they're not aware that they're in charge. So that's that spiral effect. So I like that people think about the impact you have with every step you're taking on this earth, in this life. What is your impact on the world, on other people? Because your responsibility is actually to leave good footprints, the most possible way. Sometimes it happens, but then awareness, responsibility taken, and shifting yourself, and on you go again, leaving really good footprints. And I like that you brought up what is the impact in the way you're actually living your life. That's profound, I think. No?
Yes, exactly. Now that you mentioned, as well, how you can turn it around. It just came up, in communications, when you're meeting people for the first time, it's always, there is always a recommendation to smile. So it's not just, first of all, you're going to feel better because of the embodied connection that we have. It's what I do with your body and impacts your mind and emotions. And second, it's very hard when you're smiling. It's very hard for the other people not to smile back. So you're giving them as well part of lifting them up, and as well sharing to enjoy the day. Even if you smile on a stranger on a street when they're feeling down or they have this unhappy face, it's very unlikely that they will frown to you. So maybe they will not smile back immediately, but you will definitely lift up the mood. So at least they will not, stay in that kind of a state.
Absolutely. And that's communication. A smile
Absolutely,
is
yes.
communication,
Body
like you
language.
said. Exactly, like you said, we always communicate. And you know what I want to tag on? I like that you brought up smiling, because I tell you what, I even have a passage in my book, 365 Days of Happiness, about a day of smiles, because when you can actually just do that, you can do it now, listeners, or you can do it after the show. Just give yourself a moment, close your eyes, and just frown and feel how you feel. And then leave your mouth just normal, nothing. Feel how you feel. And then lift your corners of your mouth up and feel how you feel. Still closed eyes. It's the difference of worlds. You just with lifting the corners of your mouth, you actually change your energy. You feel better. You don't even have to do anything else. You feel better. And then that means your whole energy and your whole body changes too. And also it's been proven that smiling, laughing even more, but smiling changes your whole, physical body, your hormones, your cells and everything. So I think you should just, pretend. I always say, pretend that you have like tapes, a little bit of tape on that pulls the corners of your mouth up, right? And just walk through your day smiling and see what that changes. You don't have to do anything else. See how your day is completely different, because as that smiling energy, your smiling health is picking up. And also then you share and spread that energy with everyone. And guess what? Then you're lifting into a frequency that's really high for life. And in that frequency, you attract everything you've ever wanted. Things will just go right for you just by lifting the corners of your face. Plus, it's great face exercise, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. When you say with the energy, okay, yes, how to bring it up with a smile. When you're doing presentation as well as work, which can be very, sometimes in the corporate world, maybe it's expected that you're more serious or more dry, let's say. But essentially, when I work with executives, it is what you bring to it. It is your energy is your first presentation. Because as you said, as we mentioned, you cannot stop communicating, because not just because of the body language, but because we cannot stop to behave. So essentially, we as humans, we have behavior, and it comes to a lot of things are shown there. So your emotions, your energy level, your intellectual level, logic, many things. But as well, at the first, it is your energy who represents you. You can, let's say on a behavioral level, talk about some statistics or some very dry, let's say, information at the corporate world. But what sets apart that presentation is you and your energy and what you bring to it. And if you're excited about it, if you're curious about it, there are people who are very excited about some subjects that I'm not. They bring you this energy, and you had no idea what they said, or maybe you will remember some pieces of information, but you're going to feel good. You're going to feel great at that presentation or that meeting. And this is as well how you build more connections. And yes, making an impact, because I think communication is all about that, and leadership is all about making the positive impact and empowering people.
I love that. Impact. I love that word. It's one of my new favorite words because you brought it up. So tell me something. When you look kind of like at the big picture of corporations, do you think leadership, and we're going to go a little bit into, I'm not wanting to downplay anything, but or making anybody feel wrong about it, but I have a suspicion that a lot of listeners, the first reaction is, oh, I don't need help with my communication. I know how to communicate, because I think it's something that is not known, that you actually should learn about it, just like emotional intelligence. It's a little bit new, right? It's a modern, higher, I feel like it's just a higher energetic way of doing business. So a lot of people, my guess is that they're going to, oh, I don't need help with that. So do you think, or do you see, right? It's true. Yeah. Do you think, or do you see with a lot of leadership that they're actually not even aware that they actually need help with communication. And I don't mean this in a mean way. I want to highlight this. If you're listening and your first reaction is like, well, I don't need help with that, I know how to communicate, it's normal, because we're taking it a notch up with doing business. Do you see that? Or do you think, how do you tell a leadership, actually you could use a little? Because not out of they're bad at it, like you said, there's no bad communication, but how do you get leadership over that hump that they're actually going to say, you know what, yeah, I want it?
Because there are a lot of, you brought it up, there are a lot of misconceptions about communication. And one of them is, I can talk, I don't need help. I can talk, everybody can talk. We learned that a long time ago. Or you can write and express yourself verbally. But communication is not just about that. It is about connection with the others, and how do you spread that message. And of course, about the impact and the feedback that you get. I think there are a lot of people, of course, who come up, and the corporate world is like that. So they hire mostly for technical skills, and they're, of course, very important. And I worked a lot with the people who are in the IT sector. So technical skills are very high up there. And then their soft skills are kind of forgotten, or they thought they wouldn't need it, because there are some tech guys or women, and it's a kind of an introverted job. But once they come to a manager position, or they have to lead a team, or they have to be in a team, then they realize that it can be very frustrating to deal with people every day, because you want it one way, and you cannot just make people do things, maybe with some kind of leverage, but not all the time. And you need better skills with the teamwork, whether you're leading one or you're in that. I think as well, a lot of it comes, from this frustration. That's when people realize that something is not working, and they want to get away from the pain. So they, the other part of it is, of course, the results. When you see the tangible results, so you see that a lot of productivity, stress-free, it comes from a good teamwork. That's when people perform better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically leadership. If you tried it all, you brought chocolate to the office, you did free pizza, you bought the office a hammock for people to relax, you're giving the employees children stuff, and it still doesn't work. Maybe rethink that. Actually, what Aleksandra is actually bringing to the table here and teaching and helping with communication skills, and also, of course, like when somebody is scared to talk, that actually is the key, because it goes beyond free stuff for your employees. It actually makes you show up for your employees like you're caring, like you're hearing them, like you understand them, and like it matters to you that they are happy at their work. Think about that. Think about if you show up in such a powerful way, people will love you for that, and people will find that they have a backbone at work, that they have a community and support at work, and even in hard times, then they will go through fire for you, as long as you are able to communicate well, and of course pay them well, take care of your people, that too. Now this episode is about communication, so I think it's profound in what you're doing, Aleksandra. So where can people find you?
Thank you so much for that. They can find me on LinkedIn, so Aleksandra Plazinic, Ph.D, or go to my website, which is plazinic.com, or connect with me as well on Facebook, and we can take it from there.
That's amazing. And yes, it is actually correctly said Dr. Aleksandra. So, but we spoke before the episode and said we're going to say Aleksandra, but it's important to see that you're professional in what you do, and it means the world to you, and it's all for the bigger picture. So thank you for being on the show, Aleksandra. I just love your energy, and I love what you do. So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. And listeners, I hope you're taking this to heart, and you're looking at your communication skills and really kind of rethinking stuff in how you present yourself. And I hope that you got a lot of just happy stuff out of this episode, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much.